trying to think what we're doing. Let's try that one again. Take 20. We're going for lower body overhaul part 4. Okay, we've done the top half of the legs. Now we're on to the nitty gritty, the lower part of the legs. So we're going to be bringing calves, shins, and maybe even a wee bit of feet, but that'll not be the day. Calves and shins today, spending quality time on them. Okay, so if you're suffering from the likes of tight ankles, you're struggling to get down into depth on your squat, okay, because those ankles aren't able to move through a good range, or if you find yourself doing a lot of running recently, shins might be quite tight, might be starting to get the likes of shin splints, so we're going to spend a bit of time working up the front of the shin as well, which we've not done for a long time, and that's pretty brutal. Without further ado, we're going to get into it. As always, we're going to be combining flexibility with mobility. Grab your foam roller. Grab your foam roller, everybody, and all I want you to do, we always start with, when we're doing the ankles, we always start at the base. Okay, we always end up starting down towards the heel and trying to work our way up towards the actual calf itself. Today, I want you to start just below the knee joint, so you're going to be starting today on the meaty part of the actual calf muscle itself as opposed to the ankle. We're going to be spending quality time on this today, so the idea is I would like to get the full length of the lower leg done. So we're going to end up down at the ankle anyway, but rather than start at the usual spot and only get as far as we usually do, we're going to start just below the knee. So put it in at the bend of your knee and just go down a wee bit, and it's the usual process. We've started, everybody, session is in-house. All I'm doing here, ever so lightly, is just going side to side to side, okay, and that's me. I'm already starting to feel a wee bit of pain and discomfort. Now, when we're doing this, side to side until you find a bit of pain. When you find pain, what do? We start pushing down on that area of pain. Okay, before you do though, what I want you to do is make sure you're actually in the most painful part. So go slightly up, slightly down, slightly to the left and right of where you're feeling that pain, and just see if you can discover the actual root of where it's coming from is in the worst spot. So I've found a pretty nasty area of pain right there, so I'm just having a wee kind of plot around. Right, so if I push down there, that's the worst part. Okay, so there we go, I've found my spot. I'm pushing that onto my foam roller. Now, as always, phase 1, what am I doing? Live people, you should be shouting this out even though you're muted. I'm putting pressure on, okay? So I'm pushing down as hard as I can now. You can't see me doing that, okay? But I am pushing harder and harder, but I must keep that calf muscle completely relaxed. Okay, it doesn't work if you start tensing it up. So phase 1, part 1, is just trying to basically load up as much weight into that foam roller as you can. And this is the difference where you're going to get something out of it or you're not, and it's based on what you're doing at this point now. So some people will be putting a wee bit of weight on going, ooh, it's a wee bit uncomfortable. And that's as far as they'll go for the next 10 minutes of this work, okay? They'll just sit there and feel nice, okay? That's not good enough, okay? You want to make an improvement here. The idea is there should not be pain. So unfortunately, we're going to have to go through the pain barrier a wee bit. So now that I'm pushing that leg down, I feel that I can't really push it down much further. So what you can then do is get the other, ooh, yep. And that's just taking it to another new level. You don't have to push the other leg down on your other leg. See, just the weight. You take it for granted because your leg's attached to you and you drag it about with you all day. But that leg weighs a fair bit of weight by itself. So see, when you load it up on top, you'll feel it. So now that you've added a bit of weight to it, if you have, now you're going to feel a good bit of more pain and discomfort on there, so we have to ensure that you relax. So if it's too much, just take a bit of weight off that leg and slowly introduce it, and that's why we don't just go hell for leather to start with here. So now I'm getting a good bit of weight on here. What you can do to take it to the next level is bridge up the hands, okay? Again, if you do that and it's too bad, go back down. I'm not ready for that yet. Okay, I'm working up to it, and that's what I want you to do, because if you just go hell for leather, you're going to be shaking, you're going to be tense, you're not going to be relaxed. So it's down to you to put in as much effort as you can here and try to tolerate as much pain and discomfort as you can on that area that we're working, okay? So it is pain and discomfort as your friend in this instance. So I'm putting the weight down on it, and now I'm going to start just gently rocking back and forward, okay? Just trying to help break it up further. And I say gently, I don't want you going a big surface area. I'm still working on the pain. I'm not easing off the pain. I'm still pushing on the painful spot, staying on it. And then I'm going to introduce, this is probably the worst one, side to side. Okay, so that's side to side. Grind up in the little nooks and crannies on your foam roller. Okay, and really get into it, and just always make sure that you're keeping that muscle tissue relaxed. And I know it's no easy if you're finding a lot of painful tight areas tacked down. you're going to have to get stuck into them, okay, and they are uncomfortable. So now I've been on here a wee while, everybody, so now I'm going to start, well, I'm going to keep the same amount of pressure on here that I'm putting on just now, the pressure that I've worked up to being able to tolerate, and now I'm going to contract and relax. For you to work out how to contract and relax the muscle, I can't just tell you contract the calf muscle, okay? You have to kind of think about it. Easiest way to do it is see the foot of the leg that you're working on. Imagine the toes are up against the wall, okay, there is no wall there, but imagine you're trying to push against the wall, and that should help you start to activate and contract the calf muscle. You have to work out, like I keep saying to people, the motor skill involved in isolating your calf muscle and contracting it, okay, you have to work that one out. So get stuck into it, there's no set process, I'm pushing down on it, I'm wobbling back and forward, I'm getting as much weight, I'm always trying to increase more weight, I'm contracting, I'm relaxing, and now the worst one, which usually is the smash and floss. How do I do it in this instance? Okay, all I need to do is, I'm going to take my foot off so you can see, I'm pushing down as much weight as I can. It's awful, it feels disgusting, but I'm relaxed, I'm in a relaxed state, I can deal with it. So to smash and floss it, I'm going to pin the worst part down, and I'm going to start making circles with my foot. Doesn't matter what way you go, you don't have to do circles, you can do up and down. So I'm pinning that knotted up area down into the foam roller, and by lifting and making circles with that foot, I'm able to just grind it up a little bit more and help break up that muscle tissue. So you've spent a good bit of time on that area. You should feel improvement, okay? And by improvement, I don't mean if the area is pretty bad, as I'm pushing down here, there's still pain. But what I can do now is get up there and really push down, and I can tolerate that. So that's clearly an improvement, because if I had done that much pressure at the start, I probably would have been sick, okay? I'd have gone white in the face. So that's an improvement. I've spent a good bit of quality time, so now all I'm going to do is continue my side to side, rolling the full length, the full width of your calf muscle, working your way down, side to side, and just, you can see that I'm slowly shifting down until I find the next. I thought that last one was bad, now I've just discovered a whole new level of pain. Don't know where that is, but yep. So that's what I want you to do, and that's the system. So we're going to put in enough time to spend quality time on at least 2 spots. So now, I'm leaving it to you, okay? I'm going to just talk as I always do, but I want you to find a new spot. I want you to go through the process, okay? You should know that process by now. Don't just roll about going, you know, this is nice, a bit of chill time for me. No, this is not chill time, people. This is far from it, okay? This is worse than working out, horrendous. So, or it shouldn't be, but it is. And I'm happy to say, and I'm happy to admit, it is pretty awful for me also. So I've found a really horrible bit right in the centre of my calf, okay? I'm just going to break it up side to side. I'm trying to load up as much weight on there as I can. Usual process. Once I feel I've got a good bit of weight on, I can start my other techniques like contract and relax, smash and floss. You don't have to do them in that sequence, but it goes in your benefit to try and do the pressure sequence first, as in trying to get as much weight on there first, okay? And then you can start just trying. As I keep saying, the simplest way to think about it, all I'm doing is I'm trying to get that tied up, tacked down area of muscle tissue, and I'm trying to wedge it. Basically, I'm trying to crush it between the bone and the foam roller, and all those little nooks and crannies in the foam roller are helping just break up and get right in to the depths of the muscle tissue here, okay? So that sounds painful, and that is painful. It shouldn't be, but we use and abuse our bodies daily. We put them through a lot. We don't put so much back into them. So unfortunately, you are going to have to suffer a wee bit to get a bit of goodness out of this. It's not enough just to kind of aimlessly, you know, it'll feel like a wee bit of pain and discomfort. It might feel nice, but it's not enough. Okay, we really, and it's hard. It's really hard to inflict pain upon yourself and continue doing so. And it's the easiest thing in the world. But for those of you with those tight ankles, tight calf muscles, go out doing a lot of running, doing a lot of squats, and you lack the range of depth, this is the one for you, okay? So you should be wanting to do this one all the more, okay? Because it's, again, not about flexibility and mobility, it's about both of them together. Okay, it's not enough just to keep stretching. If all that muscle tissue is all tied down and tacked, okay, it doesn't matter how much stretching you're doing. You can be flexible and not mobile, and you can be mobile and not flexible. Right, okay, so I've spent a good bit of time. Now, just to finish off, okay, we're not going to have enough time. Well, we could, but we're not going to, because this is all you need. You've been given enough technique and work. You can continue this if you're on recording. You can hit pause and you can say to yourself, right, I'm going to just spend the full quality time that I need to do the full length. But people on live, all I want you to do now is you've worked on potentially 2 horrible areas. Now I just want you to go side to side, keep pushing down as hard as you can and go down the full length of your lower leg until you get roughly till you hit the Achilles, okay? And you'll know you hit the Achilles because when you start pushing that into the foam roller, it's not going to feel nice, so do not do that, okay? When you start to feel that you're coming off the muscle tissue, don't rush this part, okay? I want you to discover any knotted up areas, okay? And you're going to find plenty of them. And I just want you to have a quick smash the full length of the muscle side to side. We're working against the grain again. We're not just going backwards and forwards. That can feel nice, okay, but we need to be working against the grain of the muscle tissue. So all I'm doing here is just getting to know my calf muscle, basically getting to know the sore spots, while also just trying to feed a bit of goodness into them at the same time. So that is us done one side. Simple as. Let's swap sides. I'm going to start, remember, just below the knee joint, okay? So down onto the muscle tissue, and then I'm going to start that process of side to side to side. And I just do that. You can see I'm rotating the leg fully to the side, left and right, to get the full length, the full width of that muscle tissue. Good. So you know the process. I've just done it twice on the other side. So as soon as you find, and it doesn't have to be the same spot as last, okay? You might find a painful spot somewhere on your right leg before, and then you go there on the left and it's not there. You just keep going until you start to feel a bit of pain and discomfort. When you feel it, that's when you start just get your wee searchlight out, not literally, and have a wee in-depth look around, okay? I feel I have to say that. So you get the point, okay? I'm just kind of using the foam roller, going through the full area. Right, oh, there's a wee bit of pain, right? Let's have a wee. You kind of have to push down, rock it back and forward, side to side, etc., to help just try and spread that muscle tissue apart to get right down into the depths. Okay, so I found the pain and now I'm just searching for the worst part, okay, the bit that feels the worst. So I'm on it now. So all I'm doing is, it's pretty nasty. I'm trying to keep the muscle tissue relaxed. That's hard enough at this moment in time. So if I was to chuck my leg on top and add more weight, it would be awful. And that's where I wouldn't stay relaxed anymore. I'd tense up and try and fight it, and I'd be shaking and sweating and everything. So that's the whole point. You can see I'm just gradually back and forward, side to side, just trying to help break it up, all the while putting more and more weight onto this leg. So I'm pushing down harder and harder by the second, okay? And I'm just always making sure that I am on that worst part, but still working the whole problem area itself. So, boy, this is a nasty one. So I'm putting that leg on top gradually. I've not got the full weight of the leg on there. Like I say, your muscles are used to carrying this leg around and moving this leg around, so it's nothing to you. But your leg weighs a fair whack. So when you just simply lay that on top, you'll feel it. So stay relaxed and start to introduce the weight of that other leg. Remember, just keep rocking side to side, back and forward. We're trying to break it up, okay? It's disgusting, it's horrible, it's no nice, but it is in a sick sort of way. Quite nice, isn't it? So I'm pushing down. Now I'm obviously talking non-stop. You should be just focusing on your breathing, trying to disconnect for the pain, okay? Accept it for what it is and relax into it. Try and get more and more weight on there, and then I can start my usual contract, relax. And the whole point of contract and relax, you'll feel it. It's similar to the smash and floss in the sense that you contract, and when you relax, you'll find that foam roller just gets in that wee bit deeper, and it just helps break things up a bit more. And then combine that with your smash and floss of moving that foot around, okay? And don't, try not to wince. Is that the right word? Wince, is that even a word? Who knows, but we'll go with it. Try and know, you know, when you're moving that foot around and it feels disgusting and it's really uncomfortable and it's painful, try not to start easing off of it. Try to keep that constant pressure down on it. You don't have to move fast, okay? You can move slowly if that's what it takes for you to stay relaxed, but keep the pressure on. That's absolutely fine, everybody, okay? So I'm moving on, next spot, okay? I can feel an improvement on that. It's not better, okay? If it's that bad, it's not going to be pain-free after just doing this for a wee while, but you should feel it's a wee bit better, as in I can put more weight on that than when I started. So now I return back to my sequence, continue off on my wee journey from my knee down to my ankle, okay, and I'm keeping that muscle tissue relaxed. And even just see that side to side, it's pretty horrible, okay? You can feel all the muscle tissue getting crushed, and it ain't pleasant. However, yeah, I better watch, I'm starting to shift myself away off the camera. Oof, gonna be having that. Right, so, starting to feel a bit of pain further down now. Let's have a wee wiggle, a wee side to side. Try and find where it's coming from. Boom, okay, that seems like the worst spot. So now I'm just gonna sit here and try and get more and more weight down on it and try and just relax that calf muscle into it as best you can. As I keep saying to you, doesn't do you well to sit there for 45 minutes to an hour with a pain face on, like all tensed up and horrible. Try and relax, starting with your face, okay? Especially those of you on live, okay? I don't want to sit and look at your pain face for 45 minutes. So try and just focus on your breathing. I know it's not easy, but we don't want to be all tensed up. You're trying your best to relax into the pain, and that's why you've got to do it gradually, okay? You get the gun-ho people that just go whack, boom, and then they're shaking and they're going, yeah, yeah. Okay, that's not doing you any good because you're not relaxed. The muscle tissue is going to be all tensed up, okay? You think you're giving it your all, but the reality is you're not. So that's why we do it gradually. And we get more and more weight on there gradually. And if it does get bad, just try and focus on your breathing. Good. So we're spending quality time. That's the whole point in this lower body in-depth overhaul, rather than just 2 minutes of blitzing through. We've been working through each kind of zone, spending a good bit of quality time, forcing those of you on live and forcing those of you on the recorded version to actually spend that time on it. Like I say, 2 minutes each side is all it takes to get an improvement. Okay, sure, you can't work the entire length of the muscle group effectively in that time, but you don't need to. Bookmark it, 2 minutes each side. Okay, my ankles are hellish. I'm going to keep working on my ankles because why? I want to get better at squatting. I want to hit that depth. I want to get Johnny's voice out my head every time I do something. Ooh, get these ankles loosened off. This is all you're after. This is all I'm after you to do. Okay, you shouldn't have to be forced to do it. So 2 minutes each side, once a day, twice a day, as often as you want, and just start to work around the entire length of your lower leg, okay? So now we're working pretty high up. We're on the actual calf muscle itself. But if you're struggling with squats a wee bit more, you tend to find the tightness will be doing that bit there, okay? Right into the joint, and that's what we want to ease up also. But we always start down there. Every time we do ankles, the lower body, we always start at the bottom. So that's why today we're starting at the top, just to put a bit of love back into those calf muscles, okay? Yeah. So now we're done, as in, let's get the full side to side. I want you taking your time now, just working the full length all the way down. Identify areas that you need to work on, okay? And you'll feel that tightness and that pain. And you're trying to just quickly feed a bit of goodness back into the whole calf. So side to side, work the entire length, entire width as well, okay? Right out onto the side, that shin bone. Boom, there we go, and that's what we're going to be getting stuck into next. So we're going to do this morning all the mobility side of things first, all the myofascial release work, okay, so we're foam rolling and stuff, we're going to get that all out of the way first day, and then we'll finish off with our flexibility. So very much focusing on the calves, ankles, shins, okay? Shins is going to be a strange one, okay, we're done. You can set your foam roller off to the side, and then next up, I want you to grab your lacrosse ball. Ankles are very important. Like I say, I'm down here now and you can see if I'm squatting, if I'm lacking depth in my squat, 9 times out of 10 it's because your ankle's tight, okay? That ankle needs to be able to move freely for the knee to be able to bend, etc. I've showed you that repeatedly. If it's all jammed up tight and that ankle can't move, you hit that limit of range, your heel starts coming off the floor, other nasty things start to happen, like your knee starts to cave in, etc., which is a no-no, okay? So feed the love back into these ankles, and it doesn't take long, okay? It does not take long to see an improvement. Mobility and flexibility work combined together will make that happen. Don't just keep stretching, break up that tied up muscle tissue, and it's an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing, everyone. It doesn't just, you know, you don't just do 2 minutes and then all of a sudden you're cracking great depth in your squat. Right, next in. We're going on to the shins, okay? Now the shins, everyone, this is going to be nasty. Now you can put your foot on the floor like I've got it here, or if you're able to, you can get your foot across here and sit it up there, but I'm not doing that today because I'm pretty damn sore. So I'm going to use the ground as my anchor point here, as you can see. So it's almost like I'm about to do a glute stretch. Now the area of concern is where shin bone. Get your fingers and jab about, find your shin bone, okay? So you can feel it. What I want you to do is feel in behind it. You can see that little nook in here, okay? Get pressing in there. That is the area which we're going to be working. You don't foam roll the bone. If you try and foam roll your shins, it's just going to feel disgusting, okay? And it's not doing anything. We don't want to foam roll the bone. So if you come up just behind, okay, you'll feel that area where the bit in behind the shin bone is. You've got that meaty bit of muscle that runs up. That's where we're going for, okay? So if you're suffering from shin splints, or actually quite a few things this muscle's responsible for, okay? If you struggle to create an arch in your foot, if you're feeling any pain in the bottom of your foot, it's another one of those areas that's worth spending time on, okay? So get stuck in there with your finger just to identify the area that we're working on, and we're going from the base of the knee joint, okay? So you'll feel that. If you go too high, you'll start to feel bone again. So the base of the knee joint, and I want you working down the full length all the way down to the ankle, okay? And you might not even get that far. How do we work it? I'm going to start at the top, I'm going to push it in, and I'm pushing almost forward so that I'm getting in behind that shin bone. Okay, hopefully I've explained that clear enough to you. Now, the reason we don't use a foam roller is because obviously a foam roller isn't going to get into the nooks and crannies the same. So I'm pushing in here as hard as I can, and then remember, what do we do when we're using the ball in these parts? We twist it, okay? We twist it to take up the slack in the skin so that we can really get in there. Now, I want you pushing in with a lot of weight, okay? And you might not feel anything. Some people might feel this awful already. Now, what I want you to do is just, you can see what I'm doing with my hand, I'm just rocking it and I'm just trying to get right in the depths of that muscle, and I'm just trying to help break up any tightness. I want you to use that sequence. You're going to go down the length of this shin bone. You're going to find areas of low pain, shall we call it, and you're going to find areas of high pain. I want you focusing on the areas of high pain, and it's going to feel pretty nasty, okay, trust me. Everybody's going to feel it differently at some point. So all I want you to do is then, right, I had nothing there, so I'm just going to roll one ball width down. Get stuck in there, right, start to feel a bit tender, but I would class that as maybe low pain, but I know this next one is probably going to start hitting it, so I roll it again, push it down. Disgusting, okay? So I want you to twist the ball to take up the slack of the skin, which never feels nice, okay? And then I'm pushing down into it. Now, as always, I have to stay relaxed here, okay? Now, this is going to be horrible. You're going to feel horrible spots along that shin. Get stuck into it. Like I keep saying, those who do a lot of, I keep saying running as if it's all we do. It's not, it's just, you'll hear me talk about it. Running is detrimental to your body, okay? Our bodies are not designed to go and start pounding tarmac, etc. So you're going to find a lot of people that do a lot of impact sports as such. You're going to find that the tissue in your lower part of your leg, as in knee downwards, is hellishly tight, it's hellishly tacked down. Now remember, you're focusing on areas of high pain, so if it feels all right, keep moving down. Keep exploring that shin bone, and you'll probably find, if you look where I'm pointing now, most people will start to feel a pretty nasty area around about here. But I'm not focusing on that for you, because you might be different. You might feel it up here, that's why everybody's different. But if you're needing a bit of a guide, if you're going down thinking, oh, I'm not really feeling anything, keep going. Right, okay, as soon as you start to feel, this is where you'll start to realise that pain feels differently in different parts of your body, okay? This feels it's almost weird, it's disgusting, it's a disgusting type of pain, shall we call it? Okay, it's not like the pain we had in our calves. This is a like right nervy, disgusting, horrible, I feel a wee bit queasy kind of pain. So I'm pushing in, I'm twisting that ball, okay, and I'm getting as much weight on there as I can. Now this is where if you've got your foot like mine, you're going to struggle a wee bit because you could really do with getting it elevated. So what you can do is if you're not quite as flexible to be able to get the foot up and over, okay? So if you can't get your foot up like I've got it now and put a lot of weight down, as then you feel that, nah, I'm not getting anywhere near as much weight because I don't feel as flexible. Get your foam roller, okay, and I just want you to place it on the side, and as you've got that knee down, push down. Why are we doing that? Because in order to be able to smash and floss, I need to be able to move this foot around, okay? So making circles with my foot while pushing down that tack tissue. So I'm just doing that because it's easier to show you, and see, to be honest, I'm feeling pretty tight today, so if I show you the other way, I'm just going to be in more of a stress position. So that's what I mean. If you can get that foot across your other leg, that's fine. But if you feel that by doing so, it's a stress position, you're sitting there all tense and shaking, then that's no good. So I want you in as relaxed a state as possible. So I'm pushing down. This is disgusting by itself. I can contract, I can relax. Remember, all the same techniques apply to every area of the body, okay? It just feels a little differently, or it might not be quite the same as in here. Well, it is pretty much the same as before. Okay, I'm straightening the foot, I'm lifting the toes, I'm making circles all the while, pushing down. Try and remember, you're trying to focus on the worst parts. Don't ease off the worst parts to make it more comfortable for yourself. So I'm really trying to push that down as hard as I can. Don't forget your little side to side, back and forward rocking, but I'm staying on the area that I'm trying to work on, pushing down hard. Okay, it might feel like you're doing wrong by pushing down hard, but trust me that you're not. You really need to. Now when we smash and floss, if you say, for example, watch me now, I point my toes, that just takes it to another level, okay? So rather than just going back and forward, if I put my toes straight and it feels hellish, I'm going to keep my toes straight, spend a bit of time in there because it's obviously opened up right exactly where I want it, okay? So I'm pushing down, and I can't emphasize it enough, you're behind the shin bone, okay? We're not going back onto the back of the calf here, we're behind the shin bone, okay? Oh, nastiness. So I've nearly worked my way down. I won't lie to you, I'm going quite quick. I'm not spending a lot of time on each area because I just wanted to see what... I was worried that there was another spot a lot worse off. So now I've kind of gone down, I've gone back to that worse area, the area that definitely is the most painful, and I'm just spending quality time breaking it up, smashing floors, contract, relax. But the biggest thing, I can't say it enough, is just get the weight down on it. Push down hard, push down into the back of that shin bone, rock the ball, back and forward, side to side, in little circles, trying to break up any problem areas, okay? And now for the last few seconds, all I want you to do now is just work the full length, okay? So all the way down, all the way up, and just see exactly how things are feeling in there, okay? If you can find any worse off spots, save them for next time, okay? So, very important and very forgotten about area. People only work on and train on what they see, okay? It's like all these folk that go to the gym and just work on their mirror muscles and then wonder why their posture's awful and they're weak backed, okay? It's gonna be, people just see the calf muscle, so they just think that's the only thing going on down there, okay? We've got a lot of muscle groups down, a lot of different muscles down there, and that's one of them, getting right into the depths. Even with your finger, you don't even need the ball. So before we get into the next leg, you can quickly use your thumb just to press in behind that shin bone and start to identify already where the problem areas are. And for a lot of people, you'll probably find you don't need much weight before you get a lot of pain and discomfort on there. So I know, personally for me, that up here, there's really hee-haw going on. That feels pretty supple to me, that feels okay. But as soon as I get down roughly to about a third of the way down, it starts to feel pretty disgusting. So I get the ball in, and this side feels a hell of a lot worse than the other side. So, same process. It might feel awful. Everybody's different, okay? Everyone's different. This leg feels worse, okay? I won't lie to you. I'm pushing down on it. I'm not putting all my weight on the ball yet because it feels awful. If I do, I'm going to start fighting it. So remember, slowly, it's a pressure wave, off and off and on, off and on. okay? But each time you go on, you're going a wee bit heavier. Do you get me here? Do you understand what I mean by a pressure wave? So it's pushing down, easing off, but not completely. Pushing down more, easing off completely. Pushing down even more, easing off completely. Just slowly introducing pain. Slowly introducing the pain and what lies ahead rather than just full shebang whack, there you go, and you're sitting there going, ah! Because that's definitely not relaxed. So you're trying to take the pain. Take the pain. Focus on your breathing, slowly introduce more and more and you'll get better at it, you'll handle it. Trying to stay in a relaxed state. Twist the ball, take up the slack of the skin so that we're getting right into that muscle tissue. Pushing down. Don't be guilty. Don't be guilty of just holding this spot thinking this is all right. Get down, go further. Oh, it feels even worse. Good, get into it then. Focus on the areas of high pain, not the areas of low pain, okay? When I get it, I'm pushing down, side to side. I'm trying to get in deeper, pushing in behind the shin bone. Remember, I'm not on the shin bone, but you might well feel yourself pushing against it, and that's fine, as long as you're on that muscle tissue, okay? So we're spending quality time. Quality time. Then you go a wee bit lower and it's a different world of pain altogether. So please try and get the whole length done as best you can. So aye, it's pretty disgusting for most people, I'm sure you'll agree. Unless you live a very comfortable life and you're very supple on the lower leg. But for many, I'm pretty sure you'll be feeling this. And just have that discipline of finding the worst parts and getting stuck into them. So if you can manage to smash and floss, which you probably won't, to be honest with you, without raising that foot up, get the foot raised as soon as you can. I've got it raised, making it as comfortable as you can bear. Pushing down into it, find the worst part, and then I'm just going to smash and floss. Pointing the toes, that seems to be the nicest part when you point the toes. It's absolutely brutal. And then keep crushing, keep twisting that ball and just start moving that foot around. Okay, and then you've got to watch where you've got your foam roller on because it might be disgusting the part the foam roller's sticking into as well. So it would probably help you if you can get that foot across, but ain't happening today. Okay, right, we're nearly there. We're nearly there. Right, okay, take the next few seconds, get the full length done, side to side, push into it. I want you just to work the full length. Work the full length of that shin bone, in behind it. Just try and get some goodness into all the little parts you never had time for, but also it's going to help you identify the worst parts in the areas that need a bit of work, and hopefully you're feeling that improvement, okay? And like I say, it's not a case of when I say improvement, all of a sudden there's no pain. It's just all of a sudden you can push down a lot harder than before, okay? So there we have it. Job done, well done. Time for a wee bit of flexibility. Okay, so now we're going to stretch this out. And this is very familiar, but it's been very long but done. So all I want you to do is get yourself a mat, or if you're on the carpet, you'll be fine. But I want you to have your knees roughly shoulder width apart. I'm going to show you from the fronts, first of all, so you can see exactly what's going on. And all I want you to do is sit back. Now I'm going to go side on, because then you're going to see exactly what's going on here. So, look at the position of my feet. I'm not up. People do this wrong because they go like this. Okay, that's us now starting to stretch out the actual toes. It's not a toe stretch, okay, but it's stretching out the front of these shins, okay? So all I want you to do is get the toes nice and flush on the ground, and I want you to simply think about, see that gap there? That gap underneath? What would you call that? What would you call that? Front of the ankle, there we are. You can maybe get your fingers underneath there. My idea is I want to try and get that area flat on the ground. So I do that by just slowly sitting back. And this is where, the reason I've told you to put your knees shoulder width apart is so that there's room for your butt, So you've got room to get your jacksie between your feet, basically. Okay, so if you don't want to be sitting on the heels, I want you to go further if you're able to. Now, for a lot of people, this could be horrific. Okay, you might be sitting there going, oh! Other people, not so much. So I'm just going to go slowly to try and help you out in the sense of, if you're able to go back far, go for it. But I want you to focus first of all, on getting all the weight down on there. So don't just go back and think, boom, I'm the best. You're far from it, okay? Don't get ahead of yourself. I want you to first of all focus on, can you actually go into a fully relaxed state and push the weight down on there? That feels absolutely awful, but I'm staying relaxed. Now this is where beginners, you might have to have your hands down a wee bit to just slowly introduce that weight, okay? And you might not be able to tolerate that. That's fine. Well, it's not fine, but the end goal is to be able to tolerate that. Once you feel you're getting a good bit of weight down on here, my arms, okay, I'm not really putting much weight in my arms, they're just out here to support me, so don't then put your arms out. All I want you to do is just come back. Now I don't want you to focus on pushing the hips up, because then that starts to stretch out the quads. I want to keep this focusing on the shins. And all I want you to do is lean back and almost imagine you're trying to get your knees off the ground. That's how far we're taking this stretch here, okay? Now be careful, if you've got dodgy knees, by this point it's too late, okay? You're probably feeling it anyway, you've not gone this far because it's too sore. But if you've got dodgy knees, there shouldn't be pain in your knees here. Okay, and no, this is not bad for your knees. This is us working through the full range in which our knees should be able to go. So you should be able to get this range without inducing pain in the actual joint itself. But if you're that jammed up tight, remember, mobility is the joint's ability to move through a range of motion. That's your mobility for you. Flexibility is the muscle's ability to move through a range of movement. So that's why we bring the two together, and that's why they work hand in hand. That's why we combine stretching with or foam rolling, myofascial release work, people, just in case you want to start showing off to your friends down the pub, when you get back down there, that is. So I'm leaning back, getting all the weight on there. I'm in a fully relaxed state. I'm not going, if that's you, ease off a bit. It's not working for you, is it? So I've been down here a wee while now. I'm going to just slowly, gradually ease off. Now you have been restricting blood flow a wee bit because we've been at that extreme. So please, carefully, very carefully, get out of this slowly, because you're going to find when you get up onto your feet in a second, it's going to feel absolutely disgusting. Right, you can put your mat off to the side. Let's finish off with the ankle stretches. So you're at home, all you've got is your slidey socks and a very clean wall. It's not going to work, okay? So I'd recommend now at this point, put on a rubber-soled trainer. And you know, this is where if you've got black-soled trainers and white walls, don't blame me if you start ruining your house. Now you don't need to see my ugly mug for this one. I want you to pay attention to the ankle joint here. So I've got my wall, or this could be anything. All I want you to do is have something, so this bench of mine is solid. I can push all my weight into that and that bench is not going to move. So you can see, if you're pretty tight on the ankle, you're going to struggle to lift the toes up high enough to get the actual ball of the foot on the wall. We want the ball of the foot on the wall. So what I want you to do if you struggle is lean back, lean back, lean back until you feel the ball of that foot on the wall. Then the next part I want you to focus on is unlock the knee. Push the knee forward a wee bit, okay? And you should feel that that's starting to stretch out way down at your ankle joint. That's what we're after here. We're not stretching out the calves yet, we're stretching out the ankle joint. So then how to enhance this? I focus on my knee, pushing it forwards, but then to get more weight on, you can see I'm just starting to shuffle closer and closer to the wall. So now I'm pushing forward with my knee and I'm pushing my weight hard into that foot, but I'm staying in a relaxed state. Now, if your ankles are jammed up extremely tight, what you can do is if you look at my knee ever so slightly, I'm going to start rocking it back and forward. I don't want you to do it for long though, but that's just going to get you loosened off a wee bit further and that might just help bring that stretch sensation in. Okay, so if you are pretty jammed up tight, you ain't going to feel it too well. That's one way to get around it. Don't keep rocking it for the full stretch though. So now I'm not just holding this stretch, just like any other. I should be starting at a certain point, and by the end of this 2-minute stretch, you should be further than when you started. Stop fidgeting about on live, please. Anchor your foot against the wall and get the stretch done. So I'm pushing my foot forwards, okay? And I'm pushing my weight down hard into my foot, okay? So you have to kind of work out that position for you. How do I get more weight on here? Move this foot closer, move this foot closer. More weight pushing down while trying to push that knee forward. So you should feel it deep down towards your heel. And it will feel more probably like tendony type stretch rather than the big calf muscles themselves getting stretched out. So make sure that foot's anchored. That's what you got to do, okay? And don't jump about, easing off, you know. It has to be a constant. You're trying to teach your brain that it can go further with this range of movement. And that's all we're doing here. We're just reassuring our brain that it's okay, but our brain's fighting it. It's making us contract, it's real tight. We're just trying to persuade it gently by pushing it further and further and further, which comes at a cost of discomfort because our brain doesn't want us to go further. Because your brain thinks if you go further, you're going to injure yourself. Because it's been that long since you went this far because you're that blooming tight, okay? So all we're doing here is just reminding, because you never always had poor ankle mobility, we're reminding my brain that it can go this far. So I want you to now straighten out the knee. So lean, jeez, what am I even saying here? I want you to stretch out. Let me start that one again. I want you to lock the knee out and almost introduce the same stretch, but without bending the knee. We're not going to do that now. I just want to teach you this one. So now you'll be feeling that in the actual calf muscle itself. So if that feels really tight, that's one I want you to add on at the end, but we're not putting that in because then that's going to turn it into a 3-hour long video. So I'm going to change legs, okay? And same again, if you're struggling to lift your toes up because your ankles are that tight, you'll find you only get the toes on the wall, which is no use. Okay, so lean back until you've got the ball of the foot on the wall. That's me now. I'm pushing forward, I'm putting all my weight down, I'm testing it. I'm testing it first, okay, so that I don't need to fart about because I've not got a good position. I'm making sure my position is good. Then I'm going to bend the knee, push it forward, start to feel that stretch already. So now I'm going to enhance that. I'm going to shift forward to get more weight down. And all I'm thinking about now is pushing my foot into that wall and down while trying to push my knee forwards. And hopefully, everybody, that's where you're going to feel a damn good stretching at the ankle joint. Okay, and just try your best to relax. And again, if it's not quite feeling relaxed because it's jammed up that tight, rock the knee back and forward a wee bit, okay, ever so slightly, until you start to feel that you're getting a bit of that stretch sensation in. Okay, so we're going for it and we're keeping it simple. We're keeping it simple. So you have to try and go further and further and further. It's an ongoing thing. I'm doing it every second. Every second I'm trying to just push a wee bit more and more and more, get more and more weight on there. And this is the last drill of today, everybody. So keep it going and I'll summarise. So that's us done the lower part of the leg. Okay, again, we could spend multiple sessions just doing that if we really wanted to get into every little nook and cranny. But the idea of the lower body overhaul and the reason why we're spending more time on it is to really force people to spend quality time on each muscle group of the lower body, start to get to know your problem areas. So like I've said to you before, you can form your own little mobility routine based on your problem areas. Right, my glutes, they're always tight, they're always sore, it's always hellish whenever we foam roll them. So I'm putting them on my little list of things to do. Ankles, I can't squat to depth because my ankles are tight, my heels are always lifting off the floor. So I'm going to add them to my little routine. Everything else hurts when I put it on the foam roller, but that's not what I'm meaning. I'm meaning your problem areas, the areas that are just awful, the areas that you know you need work on, prioritise them. Okay, make them part of your little routine. Right, ease off there, everybody. So at this point now, this is where I would tell you to, if you want to spend more time on it, do so now if you're on live or recorded. But also, that is more than enough. And on that note, it doesn't have to be an hour-long mobility to get anything from it. Yeah, my ankles are tight. I can't squat to depth. My heels always lift off. What do I do? 2 minutes each side on the foam roller, working on that ankle area. Combine it with your stretch for another 2 minutes, okay? It doesn't take any more than 8 to 10 minutes of work for you to get a big improvement. And when I say a big improvement, I mean massive, okay? So there really is no excuse, okay? 10 minutes, I'm sure you can squeeze that into your day. And I say ankles, it could be any part of your body. If you're getting aches and pains and niggles and you know where it's coming from, or you don't quite know where it's coming from, start using the methods that I've showed you to try and identify where the problem actually is. Have a good day, hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll spend a wee bit of time on the scabby feet next time, and then that'll be the lower body overhaul in-depth version done, and we'll go back to a bit of everything. The next class we're going to do on Thursday is going to be upper body flexibility, and now we'll get as much lower body flexibility. Basically, we're going for a full body flexibility only, so no foam rolling. I want to go back to just doing a bit of flexibility work only. Thank you very much, have a good day, and hopefully you enjoyed that. Get it done. Ankles, the most important one we need to do. Get your ankles done, no excuse, and then you start squatting to depth. Have a good day.